Hello and welcome to Top Fives, the show of everything. Top Fives, presented by the Sex Effects. I'm Joey Prati.
And I'm Sean Day.
And folks, I apologize for the dead air. My computer's taking a minute to load the Twitch stream, so it's like, are we live yet? Are we not? I don't want to have to do this thing over and over and over again. It's the worst part of the show. You don't want to hear this intro. So we have, I think, a really fun show lined up. I'm really excited for the list tonight. But before we get to all the excitement, Jonathan, how are you, my friend?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Enjoying some. I am drinking. Actually, I'm kind of taking a tip from the last time I was kind of hanging out at your in your area. I'm drinking one of these high noons. I don't know if you can see.
You got a high noon.
Yeah,
I got
dude.
a Stella. It's very different, but good job.
Yeah, I remember having this.
What flavor? What flavor high noon?
This is the black cherry. Black cherry vodka soda. Not bad.
Very nice.
Yeah, I funny enough, I was just at the liquor store the other day, and I was like, oh my god, I remember having these at Joey's place last time I was over. So
my brother turned me onto those.
Yeah, and this last year has been I've accepted the hard seltzer drink. Like, I feel like that's been the go-to for easy drinking around here. So gonna go with the high noon. But other than that, dude, things have been pretty good, I would say. It's
good.
It's been kind of a wild month so far. Just some life stuff happening, but it's been okay, and excited to just be podcasting at least. If anything, I apologize. My internet is also going kind of crazy right now, so I hope.
Mine too. I forgot that I hooked up my.
Wait, what's up, dude?
See, there we go. We're just anticipating lag, so we're just being super polite. I hooked up my old desktop, my old iMac, just to write on.
Okay.
Yeah, I stopped myself from buying the new purple iMac.
Oh, I see.
And just hooked up my old iMac. It's slow as shit, but all I'm using it for is writing. I like writing on a bigger screen. Okay. So I just turned off the Wi-Fi there. So hopefully on my end, it seems to be clearing up a little bit.
I kind of did the same on my phone. Hopefully my phone isn't sucking up Wi-Fi infos.
Yeah, I always turn my Wi-Fi off.
There we go. Internet problems. What? This is such a
first world problems.
This is such a streaming thing, such a podcasting thing right now. we've actually had our slew of technical issues and stuff in the past on the show.
Oh, we have, yeah,
we've
big time.
We've done pretty well to recover.
We've lost whole episodes.
Yeah, actually, we have. Yeah, actually, that's we were talking off air about getting your brother on, and I think we've mentioned this before, but your brother has had 2 lost episodes on us, actually. So
yes, hopefully 2 lost episodes, if you can believe that.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get him on, and we're just talking about some more guests we're gonna have on the show, and we're really excited just to have some more peeps on, some more lists to count down. We got some stuff to look forward to. I mean, we're playing a show as a band, Blind Issues, next month.
August 26th.
Yes.
So come on down.
At the Monarch? Is that Monarch?
The Monarch. The theater where Batman's parents were killed. So I'm very, very excited for this.
Dude, that's sick. That's exciting, man. And we'll probably start even promoting, probably on the podcast too. We'll probably put some.
Well, this technically counts. This is a promotion. Counts. Come out.
Yeah, come on out, guys.
I think we're playing like 10 o'clock or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe 11. Are we playing 11?
We're kind of up there, like later in the day, right? Or
we're
the night.
Old. We can't be doing this.
Well, I want to. Okay, so. Actually, I gotta tell you this: that weekend's gonna be freaking crazy. Cause
tell me,
man, I'm gonna go see a band. This band called Coheed and Cambria.
This band called Coheed and Cambria that no one's ever heard of before.
Coheed and Cambria is playing, and the band, the Used also, and it's literally the next day after. in Irvine, so
Oh,
I have to
so
drive all the way back.
what? So are you
Yeah,
not gonna like rage after the
I'm gonna
show?
rage
Are
for
we not gonna
sure.
rage
We
together?
are. That's why I'm excited. We got to
What
rage, but I have
what
to make
time
sure
are
to
you
wake
leaving
up.
for LA in the morning?
I have to wake up so early. I mean, I would like to get back and have like time to like chill before I go to another
You're not gonna do that. You're not
concert.
gonna
I
have
know,
time.
dude. We'll see. I'm carpooling with someone, so hopefully that like just the initial drive back and then kind of get to this concert or whatever. But
You'll is she gonna be like kind of your DD, your energy
yeah,
person? She's gonna drive back. You're gonna drive up. She's gonna drive back.
I think so. It's either that or I have another friend of mine who like lives in the area who's gonna like help us get there. So and I told him I was like, hey, we're gonna
Does he know like a secret passage?
well, yeah, we're gonna be coming back from some other town, and I don't know, man. So I kind of bit the too much of the cookie on this one, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be pretty
Coheed and
wild.
Cambria. That's an odd one. Really?
Well,
Like,
I've listened to them like in the past, and I've just never seen that band live, and like all these concerts are starting to
yeah.
get released, and yeah, I wanted to see him, and one of my friend who I'm going to see him with, my friend Charles, he's just like seen him like a bunch of times. He's like, dude, you have to go see this band. Like it's such a they're really good live, and it's kind of for I think
Oh,
all
get out of my head, Charles.
seriously. But
Get
yeah,
out of
dude.
my head.
So that's gonna be a wild weekend. But that is no excuses. I'm gonna try my best to stay out and hang out with you guys after the show.
Yeah, man.
Because I'm actually excited about that part. That's my part. I'm really excited. Like, of course, the show is really fun. Play the show, play some music. But yeah, since we're gonna be in San Francisco, in the area, I think it'd be cool to go out for some drinks
Yeah.
or something. So, but
Maybe,
yeah,
maybe we will.
maybe we will. Yes.
Maybe we will.
But other than that, that's kind of been it, man. Just getting excited to like looking forward for things now, which is
Yeah.
nice to have, especially with this COVID stuff happening. I'm still wearing a
Totally.
mask at work. That's very interesting. It's so weird because it's like you just look around, people not wearing masks, people are still wearing masks. It's like this whole like, yeah, I don't know. So
Well, I mean, I've told you I'm sure I've brought it up on the show, but what I'm seeing like in my neighborhood is, very liberal.
yeah,
And everyone was wearing a mask. And like, as soon as, the vaccine, the first couple weeks after the vaccine, you started seeing less and less masks, and now you hardly see any. And I think the shaming of masks is going to go in the other direction, where before it was people like, why the fuck aren't you wearing a mask? Now it's going to be like, are you not vaccinated? Why are you wearing a mask still? Like,
I
I'm
agree,
like,
man. Yeah.
quote me on that shit. Yeah.
No, I feel like I have I have a few customers that were like, "Hey, when are you guys going to be allowed to not wear masks?" And it's like, it's like a week to week kind of basis or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like a week to week basis. So we're I think as of right now where I work, I think starting next week, as long as we can prove that we're vaccinated, we don't have to wear one. Although, see, I'm in this like split
Nice.
line where it's like I work in the food industry, and so it's like, you know what, wearing a mask isn't that bad because like when you're talking, yeah, I don't know, I guess
No, I mean,
I don't know if
out
I'm
of
sure
all
you
the
get it.
industries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that makes sense, right? Like for food, and you don't, I feel more. I mean, even as a customer myself, like I'm like, damn, like this feels like a little more hygienic when I'm getting my drink or food or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be a mixed bag, I think, for the next. I think even these next few weeks. But when
Yeah.
we go up to San Francisco, like, I'm probably gonna be masking off. So we'll see. We'll see.
Masking off all on the face, neck, and chest.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I got some.
Did I throw a curveball
Yeah,
at you?
you
with that
threw.
one?
I got some
My
very interesting
bad.
thoughts in there. Uh,
Yeah.
anything else, Joey? Anything else going on with you, dude?
Gosh, we missed we thank you for the bye last week, needed a mental health
Yeah.
week. But let's see. When we last spoke, it was
Yes.
about to be 4th of July.
Mm.
So I went up to my brother's place in Roseville. Him and his girlfriend Bianca. Lovely, beautiful home. Got to see my nana. At least he got to meet my nana, which was really sweet. Got to see Bianca's mom. Um, had a great time. Beautiful house. Just can't get over like, whoa, my brother has a house. You know what I mean? Like and he's 30. When did all this happen?
Oh yeah,
And
man.
he's got a podcast, DMP Pod. Check it out. So yeah, so that was really cool. And then 4th of July, we went to Alicia's parents' house and they barbecued and we got to play in a pool. So that was a lot of fun. Um, what else has been happening, man? I don't know. I've been writing a lot. Been
Good.
back
Yeah.
to my roots as screenwriting. We buried a cousin on Friday. Cousin Steve, he passed away a few weeks ago, and it was just we haven't been able to do the family things, and it was kind of a weird bookend because last March 11th, his mom, we buried her, and it was right before it was officially a pandemic. Like you kept hearing about the virus, people were wigged out, but no one knew. Certainly no talk of masks yet. So that was the 11th. Later that day, I went and signed my divorce papers. And then on the 16th or 17th, that Monday, they sent us home from work and it was like, okay, shelter in place. So then to come out of this thing and then the son passes away. And then to be in that same kind of room or chapel or whatever at Holy Cross Cemetery. And then, my parents, because they're close to Colma, had kind of the reception at the house for my Aunt Jerry, and then they did it again this time. So even though we didn't have our big Easter celebration or Christmas Eve celebration like we usually do, the family did get together, unfortunately, for two kind of sad times during this whole thing, and it in a weird way kind of brought everyone together. And I was lucky enough it was my first time seeing my cousin and a half. It was so good
Yeah.
to me and him just talk movies and writing like the whole time, and it was like, oh man, I felt motivated and inspired. So Mickey, it was good to see you. Listen to the Three Friends podcast.
Yeah.
Go Criterion. But yeah, so it was great to see family. Wish it was under better circumstances, but I mean, it was really kind of beautiful to see everyone. So that's what's been going on with me. Just trying to navigate, man. Just trying to navigate.
Yeah. It's
What
been.
is this? What is life?
What is life? No, it's
What
definitely
is
been.
life?
Yeah. It's especially for. And I'm sorry for your loss, man. I know we talked about this off
Thanks, man.
air. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's definitely been a very interesting year, and especially for for being far apart from everyone. Like when my granddad passed away too, like this year, that was kind of like the hard part too. It's like
Yeah.
being virtually kind of away from all that, and but there are still ways of like reconnecting, especially with family and stuff, which has been nice. I actually just got a message from my cousin Tom. uh he was kind of he was kind of teasing a little bit. He's like, he's just like, might be thinking about booking a flight in September, just so you know. So I was like, oh,
Yes.
okay. So Tom, if
Come
you're
to
listening to
America,
this,
Tom.
come to America, please. We would love to host you
Showed
there.
us such a good time in England and Amsterdam. We're gonna show
Yeah.
you a good time here in the States, bud.
In fact, we should probably get him on the show. I think I'd even think of that.
In fact, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
Yes,
he
absolutely.
would probably be a great guest. So,
You'd be a fantastic guest. Tom,
yeah.
you don't
Tom,
even
if
have
you're
to come to
listening.
America. Just come on the show.
Yeah. So so just stuff like that. It's cool to hear. It's nice to like even with the concerts I mentioned. It's like, oh, it's nice to have like just plans, like stuff to do, and
Yeah.
I always thought, I feel like everyone's kind of different, but I try to have goals set up for myself, and in the year or a couple years from now. Um,
Well,
you
look
know,
at you,
well, yeah.
teacher's pet.
But here's the thing I learned, dude. Pandemic hits, like all that shit can just change, and that's I've also realized, like, yeah, sometimes things will just kind of come out of nowhere, and you have to obviously adapt to what There's all the you have to adapt to to whatever that means as far as adapting, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of the biggest kind of revelation I got too as well. It's just like you can have like all your stuff in place, but just something as random as this could happen and can totally change like your life. So
See, that's why I'm very lucky that I got divorced before the pandemic. So I was able to be like, pandemic, okay. Throw more shit my way,
Throw it
life.
at
Let's
me,
do
man.
this. I know how to roll with it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. But aside from that, we're still kicking. I'm glad we're still doing this podcast. Like, I mean, the good thing is that we've been doing this kind of remotely, since we've started, and it kind of worked out, I guess, with us, doing this, and it's kind of cool. We're trying the streaming thing and seeing how that how that feels. But
Yes,
yeah,
it
it's
feels
cool.
delicate.
Feels delicate. Yes, I like it. It's cool. And yeah, it's we're definitely excited to keep evolving as the show kind of continues on. So but yeah.
That's right.
And
Darwinism.
Joey, yeah, Darwinism.
Yeah.
Do we have any pop culture news or anything, dude? I don't really
Let me see what I write. What I write in my diary here. No. I don't. Oh, Black Widow came out. Did you watch Black Widow?
I did actually went to the movie theater to see it. Cuz I was like,
Did you? How was it on the big screen?
It was actually pretty dope. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
For Marvel movies now, I'm just like, this is kind of the format of kind of Marvel movies, and there are obviously times where it's like we're doing the superhero thing,
Yeah.
But watching it, they talked. There was some pretty dark themes going on there in that movie.
They made a lot of jokes about a lot of really dark themes in that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know how I felt about all that, but yeah. Thank you, by the way, for giving me access to Disney Plus so that I could see this movie, because that's how I saw this movie.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, so it was okay. I keep forgetting that, like, I guess it was supposed to release like in 2020.
Oh,
right?
ages ago.
Like ages ago, right? Yeah. So it definitely felt like, oh yeah, this is kind of a it's supposed to be slotted in kind of between these certain movies.
Sadly, it was always kind of an afterthought. It shouldn't have been.
Yeah, it should have been.
This should have come out
a
long time ago.
Yeah.
This should have been in the Captain, because let's face it, Captain Marvel really served, other than bringing Tony Stark back to Earth in Endgame, served really no purpose. She punched Thanos a couple times.
Yeah.
But that served really no purpose in Endgame. If you had done the Black Widow movie then maybe her death would have had some impact. But you kind of gave all that story juice to Hawkeye, and his death probably would have felt right in that moment. Instead, you give it to a character we actually want to carry on, and it makes sense for her to carry on. Anyway,
you know what? I gotta say,
mad.
I know. I gotta say, I do like the girl who plays the sister.
Florence Pugh. She's amazing. Have you seen Midsommar?
I did, and so it's kind of funny.
That movie's fucking crazy.
That movie's fucked up, for sure.
I love that movie.
So like I kind of came into the movie like, oh yeah, she's from this movie, and I've seen her. I haven't seen her in other films, but I've seen her appear in some other kind of films in the last few years. She was probably my standout from that movie.
Yeah.
I almost thought. I mean, I love Scarlett Johansson, but I almost thought she kind of outshined the main star.
Well, that's on purpose, though, right? Purpose, because they're introducing her so that she will be in the series going forward. She's the new Black Widow.
Yeah.
So if this was more her origin movie than it was Scarlett Johansson's solo or even Send Off.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
No,
which is a
I feel
bummer.
you.
Scarlett Johansson deserved a lot more, but
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
She's a millionaire. She's fine. She's not hurting.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, for that
yeah, I
character,
like David Harbour a lot, but I felt he was kind of wildly inconsistent.
yeah,
Um,
it's I was a little, yeah, it was a little confusing at the, but yeah, I like, at least I like that dynamic of like they were kind of like a fake family, um, and you know, the obvious stuff where, you know, those kind of issues came up in the movie where like this, you know, the younger sister, you know, even though it was fake and, you know, maybe she didn't realize it when she was that young, you know, it was real to her or
it
whatever.
was real to her.
It was real to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed the film. I mean, at least it's like it was just a nice movie going experience, and yeah, I got popcorn, all that stuff. Did the IMAX release and all that ish.
Oh,
Um,
geez. Yeah,
and then
that'd be a good movie to see on the big screen.
yeah, it really,
I was bored on the TV.
yeah. Although, you know what, so I just got the Apple TV, 4K. Um,
How do you feel about it?
Freaking sweet, dude. Love it. But
Hmm.
my roommate was like, "Hey, I want to, you know, do if I, you know, if I pay you, you know, can we rent it, you know, on the Disney Plus?" So I was like, "Yeah," or you know, can we get it on Disney Plus? And I was like, "Yeah, you know what, you know, let's do it." And so I ended up actually I didn't end up watching part of it like the other night, on the other, you know, on the TV out there, which it looked pretty freaking awesome. Because I've been just, you
Yeah.
know, I've been on my PlayStation 4 watching, you know, the just like from that.
It's such a smoother interface. There's no buffering like on the PS4. Um,
Yeah, and
it's
4K,
just such a
it looks
better
crazy.
experience.
It looks
It looks
great,
great.
dude.
I mean, the blacks aren't as black as they need to be. Like if you
Yeah,
were to put on a Blu-ray, it looks better than what's considered 4K streaming. But
yeah.
for streaming, it looks amazing. It looks great.
I'm excited because you've showed me, like, you know, you especially renting or buying movies on the Apple kind of service or whatever. So I'm excited to check out
I
like
don't
4K versions of all these.
Yeah, I don't know that I recommend necessarily buying digitally. The more I read about it, the more it's kind of like, because
Yeah,
you never own it, right? You pay $20, but
you
excuse me,
don't
if Apple for
necessarily.
whatever reason stops,
Yeah, I feel you, dude.
at making it available,
Yeah,
then it's gone. It's gone from your collection, and they're not going to refund you any money. So I think it's probably best to rent. But I mean, if it's a movie you're going to watch over and over and over again, or you're going to throw on, I'm going to throw on 15 minutes of Batman Begins while I'm getting ready. Like, yeah, I want that
yeah.
always at the ready. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah,
It was a good investment. I was like, you know what?
I'm so
Especially,
glad.
yeah, especially for you know, I also wanted to kind of, you know, especially us being stuck inside, you know, most of this last year. It's like, oh man, you know, I love watching movies, and you know, it's yeah, it's still like a communal thing with my roommates and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, so that was the kind of the move. I was like, oh, you know what? Eventually, I'm gonna, you know, invest in this thing, and then the TV I have is a 4K TV, but I don't have any 4K type players or anything like that. So it was
Content.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
a huge difference.
And now you're getting the crystal
Yeah,
clear shit.
all of that. So
Yeah.
I'm really stoked for that.
Nice.
But yeah,
Very cool.
Black Widow. What else? Black Widow. There was the What If, off the Marvel stuff. There was that What If trailer that came out.
I didn't watch it.
It's okay. The
Yeah.
animation style is interesting. It's I don't know. Someone has to convince me because, you know, there's that animation style. It looks kind of like the Clone Wars type animation style. So
Really?
it looks a little weird, but the type of stories I think they're gonna tell, I think it's gonna be very interesting because, yeah, it's like a whole what if kind of version of the Marvel universe, and you know, I like that like one off kind of thing, and at least they're open to doing
See,
something like that.
this to me looks more like a cross between there was that Batman. God, what was it called? It came out between Batman Begins and Dark Knight, and they got like a bunch of Japanese animators to do different segments. Um, fuck. A cross between that and the MTV Spider-Man show from the early 2000s, where Neil Patrick Harris
Oh,
voiced Peter
yeah.
Parker. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was only like a season or something. Um,
It's
yeah,
like a cross between
animated
that
that.
kind of animation, huh?
Yeah. I that's what I see just initially from looking at it.
I mean, like
Gotham Knight, Batman Gotham Knight
Gotham
is
Knight.
it almost looks exactly the same, but with Marvel colors.
Marvel, yeah. Not just in the anime. I mean, yeah, I'm sure the people animating those types of shows and stuff. I mean, it looks incredible. I mean, like as far as the detail and
Yeah.
everything. Um, but I don't know. Maybe it's just for getting used to kind of like that style of animation where like, and also like it's kind of similar to the maybe I could compare it to like the Avengers game that came out where like none of the faces
Mm,
like look like any of the actors, and so there's this weird.
but that's okay,
I
right?
mean, that's okay, but like I guess maybe for like I don't know, maybe people who are like fans, I don't know, like for me it's like that doesn't look like Chris Hemsworth, like, or that doesn't look like Thor. You
I
know what I
think the
mean?
problem with the game is that they look close enough that it's like, were they trying to look like the actor? Because they failed. And if
Yeah,
not, why
yeah,
did you skew so closely to the actor to begin with? Because, I mean, let's face it, these characters existed 50, 60 years before the actor,
exactly.
ever
Yeah,
took over the role. So there should be some creative license, but at the same time, like you're saying, if they're designed to look like the movie characters, but not really. Like, remember those James Bond games, like the first Bond games for like GameCube? He was like Agent Under Fire.
yeah. Oh
They didn't
yeah,
have the rights to Pierce Brosnan, so he kind of almost looked like a Brosnan Lazenby mashup.
yeah,
Um, and then Pierce Brosnan lent his likeness, and then Bond can look like Bond. But interesting,
yeah.
interesting.
I'll definitely watch. I mean, if it's something, if I'm paying for Disney Plus, I'll watch it, man. Whatever.
D plus.
D Plus, y'all. But
Yeah, I'm not into those kind of videos.
yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, we'll check it out. I'll check it out. I'll give it a go. Um,
Right
but
on.
yeah, I can't think of anything else really
Yeah,
that I
I
can
don't
think. Yeah,
know.
yeah. Joey, would you like to get
Shit. Yes.
into some lists? I flipped it this
You
time.
took the words right out of my off my tongue, you devilish little snake.
Got you.
Yes, I'm super into that. Would you like to go first? Would you like I to go first?
I'll go first, Joey.
Go first. Go
And
first.
this one is I feel like both our lists tonight, I feel like we've touched on these lists before, but I can tell you now that my list is probably drastically different from maybe what I had before.
Yeah.
Um, so Joey, what are your top 5 debut albums?
All right. This is tough. This is very tough.
There's quite a lot of. I mean, there's so many groups you can choose from, so many bands.
There's so many. And there's one album that I think is going to cross over both of our lists, and I'm not even going to make an attempt to work around that at all. Just fair warning. There is one album I left off because I'm almost certain it'll be on your list. So if you don't bring it up, we're going to talk about it after. Number 5, I'm going to go with Bazooka by the Star Spangles.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, Star Spangles, they kind of sound almost like a Ramonesy type band. Early 2000s punk. My cousin Mickey introduced me to them, and it's a solid debut record. There's that song, which one of the two of us is gonna burn the house down? Which one of us will burn it right down? I think there's one called Angela. I don't know. There's a ton of great, just sing-alongs. Fantastic melodies. Bazooka, the Star Spangles.
Bazooka.
So there you go.
Nice.
Number 4. Ugh, this is tough because there's one album that I'm like, I really love, but it might be on your list. So I'm gonna dance around it.
Okay. Do a little
And I'm
dance.
gonna go the Slim Shady LP.
Yo, okay.
Eminem.
Some Eminem, dude. All right.
some Eminem. It doesn't reach the heights of the Marshall Mathers LP, but this is a dark, funny, gripping, always very gripping. Early Eminem is one of my favorite lyricists. The way he plays with words is just fucking incredible. He's so good. And he's a lot, the I don't know what you would call it. He gets so fast on the Marshall Mathers LP, and this one is a little more laid back, a little more shut up. People are yelling outside my window.
Oh,
Did you hear that?
This is crazy. This is live right now?
That was wild. Yeah, that was happening right outside my window.
Was it like a car? Car?
I don't know. I don't know what I mean, yeah, clearly, but I have no idea what exactly happened. So I'm at a blinker. That was crazy.
That was crazy.
Anyway, I hope the microphone picked that up. Where's like Slim Shady LP? Yeah, it's I can't really say like it's a good time, but it's a time. It's a time for sure.
Dude,
Brain Damage. I want a special shout out. What a great song.
Dude, yeah. For being a debut album, there's a lot of like pretty heavy tracks on it, and like
very.
He's not holding back for like the first album, his first impression, I think, on.
No.
Yeah. Right. So.
And what's the one track? It kind of goes back and forth between him and Dre. I'm like Guilty Conscience.
Yeah, I remember Guilty Conscience. Yeah.
I mean, everyone knows my name is, but there's so many. Yeah, there's a lot of good.
A little re-listen on that one.
Yeah,
that's there's a lot of But I remember it being pretty intense of a listen through. So
I love it. Yeah. So number 4, Slim Shady LP.
Slim Shady LP, nice.
Number 3, Tenacious D.
Oh, the D.
I mean,
come
on,
man.
The D. Really, only the album I acknowledge of theirs. I wasn't a big fan of really any of their other releases except for some demos and stuff like Jesus Ranch. But yeah,
solid. It's a solid album.
We've talked about the D so often. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, dude. Like,
yeah,
the production
is so good,
freaking awesome on it, man. I mean,
Dave Grohl's the drummer on it.
Dave Grohl, yeah.
Come on.
You know what? I feel like, Joey, if we're gonna see a concert in the future, I feel like Tenacious D, we have to go.
Oh, they're
Tenacious
on my list. Yeah, we have to. Yeah,
I don't care how much those tickets are, or like if we have to travel somewhere to go see them.
Yo, I'm into it.
I'm kind of down, dude.
I'll follow the rules of the road to get there. Yes,
I'm down. So
let's do it.
Yeah,
I want that very much.
That's a great album, though, man. I think I remember you used to have that spinning in your CD player like all the time.
All the time.
In your car.
It explains a lot.
Yeah, dude. Seriously, man. I mean,
explains a lot.
Yeah. So, yeah, freaking great album. Great album.
Great record. Number 2, the Ramones.
Ooh.
I mean, it's a perfect album. It really is. And really, I got that record when I first started writing songs of our own. You know what I mean? Like that was, you heard it stripped down. You could clearly hear verse, chorus, verse, and okay, it doesn't have to be this crazy mountains of production. It's just okay, guitar, drums, bass. You know what I mean? Like it was so broken down that you felt like I can do that. I can do something like that. That's I think the greatest gift, maybe in all of music. You know what I mean? Like I do think the Beatles are the most influential group, but I think the Ramones are the second most influential group. The Beatles were like, holy shit, music, blah, blah, it reached everybody. But for anyone who ever wanted to play music, if you heard that record, their first Ramones record, you were like, I can do this. You know what I mean? I don't have to be good. I just have to do it.
Just like the
cool.
the punk mentality of like the the 70s, and that that whole yeah, it's the kind of do it yourself mentality, and kind of figure it out, as you go, or
Yeah.
you could, you don't have to be like a well-rounded musician or whatever. It's all about the attitude and what you're trying to say in the music, and that kind of determines it. So yeah, you're right, dude. Ramones, I think, were very, very influential to a lot of the bands that we hear today. And then of course for
Oh
us
yeah.
as songwriters, right? Like being able to learn simple songwriting, and but again, like, yeah, that's it. It should be simple. It shouldn't be as complicated as it should be. So
Yeah. Yeah.
nice. The
There you go.
Ramones.
Number one, I know that we'll cross over at some point. That's okay. But it's whatever people say I am. That's what I'm not. Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I can't tell you how much this record changed my life.
Yeah.
It was the first record I listened to it was definitely like kind of punk, but more complicated than punk. They're playing without distortion, which freaked me out. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it was the first time I wasn't hearing just muted verses that were muted guitars. You know what I mean? It was like you listen to the verse section of what I bet you look good on the dance floor. Excuse me, it's like dun 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 dun, and he's singing over that. And that opens your mind to, oh man, I can go this way with the song, because before that we were just used to
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So it's and then to go from it's like, whoa, it and to think they were only a couple years older than us, and you know the music was always so good, the jams were always so good, but the lyrics, Alex Turner is one of my all-time favorite wordsmiths. He's great. I wish he would kind of go back to writing songs that made a little more sense. But he's wonderful even when he's being more abstract, and singing about Technicolor daydreams or whatever the fuck. Describing those late nights out in Sheffield or whatever, either with a bouncer or with trying to get with a girl, or like he captures that spirit and that time in your life so perfectly. It's like when I read Bukowski and I get uncomfortable because of how honest I know that it is,
Yeah.
or how
Yeah.
true, uh that record will take me, it came out in 06, so we were 17. It always takes me
Takes you
back
back.
to,
Yeah.
but it still feels like it could have been recorded yesterday.
You're right.
It doesn't feel dated at all to me.
Yeah.
But except for maybe the line about, only music so that there's new ringtones. It's like, who even has fucking ringtones anymore? But other than that, it's a pretty timeless record.
Dude. Well, yeah, there's no surprise there. It's my number one too. So
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
yeah, you have said a lot about what it means to you, and I kind of have I share the same kind of feeling, as far as like it brings me to that time of our lives. It's it's talking about going nights out, and you could just picture every like scene that's in like each line, and then of course the kind of idea of songwriting with obviously very kind of dynamics, dynamically changing certain things, but also keeping the same energy consistent throughout all the songs, even if they are kind of like maybe like a slower song, or if it's something that's like keeps the pace going and the tempo as fast as it can be. I think they do so well to kind of give you those peaks and valleys, which I think
I think, sorry, I don't,
no,
not to interrupt, but I mean, kind of to your point, what you're saying, like we've talked about how listening to old vinyl records is a different experience because it was made to be a vinyl record. It was made with two sides in mind.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the records that we grew up with were made in the CD era, so it just kind of goes all the way through. Where,
Mm-hmm.
especially, all Arctic Monkeys albums, but especially this first one, it feels like it was made with vinyl in mind. The first side
Yeah.
ends with Riot Van, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, and then kicks back up with Red Lights Indicate Doors Are Secure. Like it's a perfect two sides.
Which I still have yet to own that record on freaking vinyl.
Do
So
you? I got it. It's a
yeah.
sweet little, yeah, I love
So
that record.
maybe that's my next record store hunt. I'm gonna have to get that album eventually. Yeah,
Nice.
I think you're right, man. There's a lot to say about the album, and yeah, I don't know, man. They're fun songs, and the maybe
Yeah.
going off of like the songwriting again, like as like guitarists, kind of having like these little melody lines happening, and they kind of dictate how they're gonna move throughout the song, and like kind of it keeps the energy up. So as a like guitar player too, like learning like, oh yeah, like these melody parts, even though they have their moments and their kind of role to play in the song, I guess. Yeah, just stuff like that, just as simple as that. Like, but I freaking love that record, man. It's I was actually just listening to it the other day, in the car. And it's funny because I could listen to that record, back to front, like nonstop. There's no, I won't skip a track. I'll just listen to it as long as I can. So, oh, Joey, I think you're frozen. I lost you. I'm gonna stay on. I'm gonna keep staying on. Oh no! Are you still there, Joey? Oh, there you
I'm
go.
still here. I'm so sorry.
It's cool. It's
My
cool.
internet cut out.
It's cool.
Are you still talking? Are we still
Yeah,
recording?
yeah. We're still recording.
Very good. Okay, let's not
Um,
let's
let's see. Okay, so that's my number one. So I'm gonna go back to five. Um,
yes.
let's see here. Okay, so I think we've done this list before, but I've definitely varied it up this time around. Because there's a lot of bands that have influenced me, I guess, or kind of uh you can, I guess, again, kind of going off of like the albums that you can kind of like listen to back to front, and you're just they take you back to that certain time maybe, or they just hold up so well after so many years. So the number five, this is actually a UK band called Block Party, and the album is called Silent Alarm. Block Party was very interesting at the time. I probably heard them on the radio. They had a song called Helicopter. That was a big one of theirs. That was probably on the radio. But I remember listening to that album back to front. And actually, this is another album I kind of want to hunt for on vinyl. It's a solid album. It has kind of the Brit pop. I don't know. It's hard to explain because it's like it encompasses like this British kind of band. It's very similar to Arctic Monkeys, where it's very driving. There's a lot of songs that are just so like out the gate, just really, really high energy. There's Russell, one of the lead guitar players. He's known for kind of using like effects and these just weird lines and stuff. So it was really interesting as a guitar player to see someone kind of go outside the scope of what you're hearing, usually, and using the effects as a tool, kind of similar to like The Edge from U2 or something like that. So, Silent Alarm. There's some good tracks on it, and Block Party. The lead singer didn't hide his British accent. Like they were one of those bands where like they sounded like they're from England. So, and they're kind of like the Arctic Monkeys. I've been following them for like the last few years, and I actually can't wait to if they do book some tours or shows or whatever, I definitely want to go see them live. So, I have a soft spot for like that band, and kind of similar to Arctic Monkeys. Just following them like album per album. And just seeing like their progression, and And then also, yeah, the type of kind of music they create is fun and energetic. So, yeah, Block Party, yeah.
Love that.
Let's see here. Number 4. Here's some different ones for you guys. Here we go. Daft Punk's Homework, which had Defunk. I think it had Around the World on it. Um, and actually, I have to thank Live 105, the Bay Area, because they used to play like Defunk all the time on the radio, and that's the first probably exposure
Hell yeah.
I got. Holy shit! Sorry. Oh no. I just spilled beer. No. Okay, give me a second.
That's the danger of drinking during the show, kids, is that sometimes Sean will spill. I never spill because I'm very careful.
Dude.
Sean is a rookie, and he tends to make these mistakes. I don't. When you ask, who's the more professional of the two of you, clearly I'm the front runner. But yeah, so anyway, as Sean's cleaning up, I'm just waxing poetic. August 26th, The Monarch, Blind Issues, St. Francis and the Wolf. You got to come out. You got to check that out. What else? I'm writing a script. It's about 60 pages in. So that's happening.
All right. Thanks for...
And he's back.
Thanks for that. Oh my God. That scared me quite a bit. This is why I never have my drink on the side my computer's at. So I put it right over here.
You got to put it on a different side, man.
Yeah.
The hell's the matter with you?
I can't have this computer dying me too. Okay, we're still going here. Okay, sweet. Yeah. That whole album is especially for Daft Punk. I wasn't a huge fan of theirs at the beginning. But then kind of looking back at their career and just like the albums they released, they brought like electronic music kind of to the mainstream, from France to the United States, and the combination of kind of funk music and obviously electronic music. They really did bridge that gap, I think, with some other genres and mashing those genres together. Which is kind of where like electronic music is kind of it's been heading over the last decade or whatever. So yeah, they're and highly influential for a lot of bands and stuff. So yeah, Daft Punk, Homework.
Love that.
Okay, number 3. This one is The Clash, self-titled. The Clash album. I'm going to go with the UK version on this one.
I would fucking hope so.
So, yeah. This wasn't my introduction to The Clash, I would say. I know London Calling, the album, was probably my introduction to The Clash. But, of course, being the student of musical history with my dad, yeah, he eventually had me listen to this album. So, I mean, just... killer songs. I mean, I guess similar to the Ramones, like it did kind of, it solidified them as this band who would go on to, obviously, create, be a part of this kind of movement, but also create their own sound and represent what I think punk should be is kind of doing your own thing. Not necessarily being this specific sound, and the Clash do it so well. You kind of hear bits and pieces of it throughout the album, and then as later albums kind of move forward, they get a little more experimental and diverse with their kind of genres and what they're doing. I freaking love this album, and it's like kind of similar like a lot of these albums, like with Arctic Monkeys, like it has such high energy. It's just so. Like there's just a ball energy. Like I love all these songs, and the track 1, of course, is just a freaking killer. Yeah,
so good.
It's so good.
So good. Yeah.
I can't. I mean, yeah. If you guys listening have not listened to like this album, it's like these are essentials, man. Especially if you're playing
time.
music or into that kind of thing. So, yeah. The Clash, self-titled.
That would have been on my list.
Okay. Number two, actually, yes. One, whatever people say I am, and then number two, another album that I would attribute to my dad for getting me into, because I remember he had the
Love
CD
you, Dad.
version. Thank you, Dad. This one is Weezer's The Blue Album, which,
Yes, I was hoping this was going to be on your list as
dude,
well.
and this is another one I want to get on vinyl. I feel like I should have all these
I have
albums
it.
on vinyl. I know, I'm a lucky bastard.
I need the Clash album though. That is one that I really do need.
Yeah. Dude, Weezer, man. This was the album, man, and I think now kind of circling back, with the Ramones, like I think that approach to just playing just very simple songwriting, very raw and very organic as a band. I mean, I think that's probably what I like about this album the most. Is it feels like not necessarily live, but it just feels so like I don't know what the word to describe it. Like
It's fresh. It's always
Yeah.
fucking fresh.
it's always fresh. It feels like these guys like stuck themselves in the studio and like literally like played this music and really poured their souls out into this thing. I think that's what I like about it. It doesn't sound because when you listen, I mean, I still love Weezer, but when you listen to their kind of new stuff, it's very polished and it's definitely produced to shit. And I think that's
Their first album is confident.
it's confident, and it doesn't have to be like good. I mean, as far as like performance wise, like I mean, I think that's the thing that I feel like. I mean, I'm not trying to hate on Weezer, because I'm glad
You can hate on Weezer.
I'm glad they're still making music, man. I mean, honestly, but
Are you?
I don't know, man. We've seen them, like. I mean,
Yeah.
but that's the thing is, I think that's the thing that that I liked about them the most was that just kind of rawness about them. It wasn't necessarily like really killer guitar tones and like concept albums like that, but like I think that's why I really liked it, and it inspired definitely me and like our band too. I felt like we were trying to channel some of these bands like Arctic Monkeys and Weezer and Blink-182. They're this album definitely I feel like influenced me as far as like I wanted to learn how to play guitar and like learn how to play the Sweater Song or something, and it's just
Yeah.
it's a very influential album, I think, for even just the joy of like playing music and just like enjoying it. So yeah, that's a big one. It's man, this should be like I wouldn't say debut albums. This should be like most influential albums in our life. I mean, I know we've done that.
We could do a list like that.
I mean, yeah.
We both left off.
Oh shit. Okay, what did we leave off?
Age of the Understatement, Last Shadow Puppets.
Oh, dude, because that album inspired us to do the Sex Effects,
which eventually led to top fives. You're welcome,
yeah, seriously,
dear sweet, lovely imaginary audience.
It all circles.
It's
back,
all
guys.
Alex Turner and Miles Kane's fault.
Yeah, actually, I showed the girlfriend that album the other day. I was like, this album.
What'd you think?
She loved it, because this. I mean, I still think we should totally do like a Sex Effects album with like a string ensemble kind of aesthetic, because I think that'd be super cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it very influential. I think that actually, I bet you, if anything, I would probably put that album on our most like influential albums, like personally to us.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot was like a lot came out of that album and that band. Even though we loved the Arctic Monkeys, and, we're so into Alex Turner and his songwriting, but there was something about that album that really did a lot of stuff. So, anyways, yeah,
we never heard anything like it before.
Yeah, especially for
it's nothing like it.
Especially for being used to Alex Turner and the Arctic Monkeys and that sound and the high energy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it was definitely refreshing to hear that album. So,
that came out between Favorite Worst Nightmare and Humbug. And I like to think in my, my head canon that whatever people say, Favorite Worst Nightmare and Age of the Understatement, that's a perfect like trilogy of albums.
Yeah, I could see that.
Even though Last Shadow Puppets aren't Arctic Monkeys, it's
Yeah. No, I feel you,
you know
dude. I feel you.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
man. Anyways,
that's a
that's my
good
list.
list. You have a very good list.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. So now I need to buy some vinyl
Fantastic.
because I should own all these albums on vinyl eventually.
You should
So,
own some of them. Yeah, yeah,
but yeah, man, that's I think debut albums. That's an important one too because that's your first impression of the
yeah.
band. If you're following them,
Well, not necessarily.
not necessarily. Sorry. I guess if you're in the time with them.
Yes. If you're a contemporary,
and then of course it's the if you heard an album later on and then kind of circle back to this kind of like with me and the Clash, you get to see like where they came from and where they kind of
yeah,
went from point A to point B or whatever. So I think that's it's a good thing to recognize too because you get to see like their their development as a band and sometimes I kind of like the raw and just kind of like we're just like the Clash, like this is our first go at it, like,
yeah.
it's cool it's a cool feeling to see that and just be like, oh wow, this is like this is very genuine and like real. So
It's all real until it's not.
until it's not.
Think about
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good list, dude.
Good list. Good list. Shawnee, I got one for you if you got the stomach for it.
Hit me. Sorry. Hit at me.
I'm gonna slap you
me.
actually.
Hit at
all
me,
right.
dude.
Shawnee, we just talked about debut albums. Now we're gonna pivot
Y'all.
into the world of film. What are your top 5 favorite directorial debuts?
Directorial. This
so a director's first film.
First film. I have one on here, and I don't know if it's consistently their first film, but maybe it's their first like at least blockbuster film or whatever.
No, it's got to be the first film they directed.
Okay, shit. Okay.
I'm not counting shorts. Well, wait, what is it? Tell me.
Edgar Wright's Shaun of the Dead, which I don't think that was his first film.
No, that's his first film. That's total.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, spoiler.
He directed TV before that.
Okay.
But Shaun of the Dead, I believe, is his first actual film.
Got you.
I think.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
So you're good with that because that was almost on my list. Okay.
Number 5. Actually, I just watched this movie recently. Like literally like last week. It's House Party from 1990.
Yes.
Reginald. I can't say his name. Reginald Hudlin. I think that's his name. Hudlin. I don't want to mess up his name. So it's weird. I don't really have a history with this movie. The only thing I remember growing up, and I remember I think watching like
your dad throwing house parties.
Maybe I don't know. I remember the House Party like 2 or something, and I remember Kid and Play, which is both these guys are like they rap and I believe Kid is the one with the he has this huge like fade, like top fade, looking like what's his face from Hey Arnold,
Gerald.
Yeah. Yeah. So this movie was quite a surprise because I watched it just cold watch on HBO, and I gotta say I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was super funny. It's definitely dated, for like it's definitely a 90s film, but it's hilarious. I thought it was really funny, and
hell yeah.
Yeah, kind of going into it, it was Reginald's like first directorial debut. I think he had something to do also with the writing, but the idea of like this kind of these two kind of young high schoolers, what I think about, and maybe this kind of goes back to circling back to our debut albums and how they kind of influence maybe future albums and future artists. I felt like this movie encapsulates a lot of it. I feel like it it influenced a lot of the like high school movies we had, as or house, kind of like that, like Super Bad, um, you
Okay,
know,
yeah.
I mean, just all sorts of those kind of like, teenage. I mean, it's definitely, for a '90s movie, it's obviously has, it talks about, the Black American youth, and has those kind of themes in there. There's some really heavy stuff in the movie too for being a comedy. I mean, there's literally a part where the one of the I think kid's dad, which he's hilarious. He's just kind of like this mumbling old man. He gets like stopped by these cops, and he's just like, no, you know what? Why? He like literally calls him out on like why they're stopping him for like suspicious activity and stuff. So it's interesting, kind of the stuff they try to say with the movie. But for being like kind of a comedy film, kind of a musical, there's like this kind of hip hop, and
Right,
then
right.
of course it's not like, it's silly, but it's not raunchy, and that's the thing. Like, in some of these other movies in the future, kind of like, they all kind of went that way, that direction of like, let's just be as like disgusting and gross as possible, to get some laughs. But like, there's some like true heart in this movie, like, for being like a bunch of like high school dudes that just want to like, go to a party and meet some ladies. Like, that's kind of like also the premise of the movie. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, it's a really classic movie, and I don't think I've seen this original one before, because I remember seeing the second one, and I, out of context, I was so young, I just didn't know really what was going on. So yeah, House Party number 5.
Nice. Okay. Right on.
And then going back, number 4, Edgar Wright's Shaun of the Dead.
Very
Um,
nice.
I just remember seeing a poster of this movie, like at Century Theaters or something, and I don't know if if Dawn of the Dead came out or something, but there was like a few kind of the zombie. It wasn't like the oversaturation of zombie
It was
movies.
ground zero of like
It,
the zombie resurgence.
exactly, and I think that's why it intrigued me, because I was like, oh my god, it looks like a funny movie, a funny, scary movie. I didn't know anyone in this film. Um, the only thing I knew was it was from, it was a British kind of comedy. So, I was like, oh, knowing my dad and watching British television and stuff growing up, it's like, okay, like, I could probably get this film. We'll see, and it turned out to be like probably one of the most fun movies Edgar Wright has directed and put together.
It's a great movie.
Our introduction to Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, and the kind of first of the Cornetto trilogy, all their other movies they created together. I remember watching this like YouTube video the other day, a video essay on the kind of how Edgar Wright uses like very simple cuts and making these very simple actions in life seem very big, and that's the way he kind of portrays his action and movement throughout his films. So seeing this like kind of his style in this film was also, I mean, it obviously added to the comedy and the humor of the scenes of like Sean just like simply going to like making his toast, and then it's like this whole scene, and it's just like as simple as that, but it just makes it so hilarious. Anyways, Shaun of the Dead, Edgar Wright, what a funny movie.
Great movie.
I still think it holds up very well, for being one of his first debuts. So yeah, Edgar Wright, Shaun of the Dead.
Excellent choice.
Excellent. Number 3, this is kind of in the mockumentary style. This is Spinal Tap from 1984. This is Rob Reiner's directorial debut. Man, I kind of want to watch this movie like after this, because it has so many fun and memorable moments throughout the whole movie, and it's like
Doesn't get old.
It doesn't get old, and it commits so well to that mockumentary style. Like they know they're like you know it's a fake band, it's kind of like this thing, but it's just so good. The characters are just so into their roles. Funny enough, Rob Reiner I think he doesn't even make a cameo appearance as himself as a director in the.
Yeah, he's a character in the movie. Yeah,
He's a character in the movie. So I mean, that's I feel like kind of a bold move for like your first directorial debut. But yeah, this is Spinal Tap. If you haven't seen it, if you're like even remotely into like, music or documentaries or whatever,
it's perfect.
it's a perfect play on that whole thing. And there's so many scenes you can probably pick out that will kind of stick in your memory. So yeah, this is Spinal Tap.
Love it.
Number 2, this one came out 2017. It is Jordan Peele's debut, Get Out.
Yes.
I actually did not see this in theaters. I actually saw this I was a little late to the party. I saw this probably like 2000, maybe like late 2018.
Oh, damn, that is late.
Very late. Don't know why I didn't watch. I think I was just that actually, honestly, that year 2017, like any of the movies that came out in that year, I felt like they just kind of fell through the cracks for me.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in Sean's life that year.
I don't know.
It was just a while. You remember, you were living the rock star life. You were probably, hanging out with like a needle in your arm and dust up your nose.
Nah,
Is that what was going on? Empty bottles strewn about? What were you up to? Why don't you remember? Why didn't you see any movies?
I just don't know why I never got to watch and Get Out.
That's okay. That's fair. You know what? I didn't see it until it was out streaming either. So
yeah. So it's funny because knowing Jordan Peele as a comedian, and a sketch comic, like, yeah, I was totally blown away and taken by surprise. I'm not saying, I had this expectation of like, oh, comedians can't really direct kind of movies like this, but watching interviews of him, expressing his love for horror and that kind of cinema, it's so fitting for him to be someone who would take on being a director and taking on these kind of films and these kind of concepts. And also this kind of concept is very, very different. I mean, I've weirdly enough, I think I'm sure he co-produced it, but Lovecraft Country that came out, I think that was like last year or something like that. I think he executive produced on it or something. But being able to kind of to showcase, to pay homage to like horror and because it's a very interesting concept, and I wouldn't say it's original, but like he's definitely said there's a lot of horror films that have influenced him as a filmmaker, which was of course that's his kind of his foundation, and it's cool to see that he's putting these movies out and these kind of concepts where maybe it does touch on some of the kind of heavier themes of racism or the black identity, especially for being a black filmmaker, as that's a big thing for him to be able to put that forward to the world. So yeah, man, that movie, I mean, I'm still freaking out about that movie.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. It's has some very intense scenes, and when you watch it again, you still feel kind of unsettled when you watch it.
Oh yeah, so. Big time.
And then number 1, this is still in my top 5 films of all time, and I cannot wait to show my girlfriend this because she has not seen this film too. That Thing You Do, 1996, Tom Hanks's Directorial. And he also wrote this as well, right?
He did write it, yes.
So That Thing You Do. We've talked about this movie a bunch of times on the podcast. Our favorite band, The Wonders, rising up the charts. It's like if you had the American version of like the Beatles getting so big and obviously, as being in a band and stuff, like, it takes us back to like, kind of the formation of the bands and, kind of the playing talent shows, like the early days of that, and but it's still a fun movie. It's got a kick-ass soundtrack. Tom Hanks even stars in it, as their
Does.
manager. It's just such a good. It's a feel-good movie. I always feel like I get so much joy out of watching it. And yeah, for being a debut, I mean, I'm sure at this time, Tom Hanks is probably he's been exposed to a lot of film and has starred in some incredible movies for the time. So I wouldn't doubt him at all for this how this movie landed. But I almost think this movie is also kind of a hidden gem. I feel like
Oh, big time. Yeah.
I honestly can't remember when I saw this movie, like who introduced me to this movie, maybe when I saw it or where I saw it. It wasn't in theaters for sure. But yeah, it's become one of my favorite movies of all time. And I'm still kind of sad they don't have the vinyl version of the soundtrack.
We need that.
I feel like
we
I'm sure there's a
need that.
petition going around somewhere. But yeah, that's that soundtrack is awesome, man. So
It is.
yeah, that thing you do, man. It's still one of my favorites, and it goes down as just a fun movie, man. Great cast, great soundtrack. Even the story, as simple as it is, it's still a fun time. So
Hell yeah, dude. That's a great list.
and a very quotable movie for sure. I feel
Incredibly so.
yeah. I am Spartacus. Okay.
I am
Spartacus. All right, Joey. What are your top 5 directorial debut?
Well, you know what? I'm not even gonna. We share 2 number ones tonight. We both have That Thing You Do at number 1. I'm not changing it because it's number 1. It's so good. Everything that you just said about it. It's just it makes you feel good. It makes you feel how movies used to make you feel, like before 9/11. Like you could enjoy a fucking kind of story and get lost in the fantasy of it all and the feel good of it all. We don't really have that anymore. And it's such a it's everyone who sees that movie. Yeah, you're right. Like no one really knows about it, but everyone who sees it loves it. Yeah. And I just showed it to my girlfriend for the first time, and oh my god, yeah, couldn't stop talking about it, couldn't stop quoting it. It was like, oh, I see why you guys love this movie. It's like, yeah.
And and you know what, that song, That Thing You Do, rising up the charts, plays
great.
It's a great song, dude. And it
plays 12 times in the fucking movie.
So many times in the movie. But what an amazing song.
Amazing song.
Nice.
So that's my number 1. Let's go back down to number 5. This is tough.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. You got a lot of films under your belt too, man. So
I do. There's like, do I go with what's in my heart? Do I go with the film snob in me? I'm gonna go film snob, and I'm gonna go Night of the Hunter by Charles Lawton. It was the only movie he directed.
Whoa.
But yeah, this flick, what year was it? It was 1955. Robert Mitchum stars as a con man who's disguised as a preacher. He's trying to get he marries the widow of a guy he shared a cell with because the guy spilled about where he hid some money, and the kids, the guy's kids have to escape the situation. It's kind of this dark fairy tale. It's beautiful. It's sad. It's kind of funny. But I believe, I could be very wrong about this, but Mitchum has the tattoos on his knuckles, the love and hate, and that's I think the first time we see that in film is that. Yeah. Love and hate tattooed across the knuckles of his hands. That's type of kids around. They don't understand now. Anyway, number 4. I'm gonna do another black and white. Orson Welles, Citizen Kane.
Oh man, that's the classic, right?
This is classic film school, the greatest movie of all time. And you know what? It's fucking great. That movie is you think a black and white film, you think older movies, and you think kind of slow, kind of arduous to watch. This movie has life to it. It moves. It's the dawn of modern filmmaking, and it's so entertaining, and it tells such a grand tale, such a epic, you know, version of this guy's life. And it's a tragedy because he doesn't learn in the end. It's heartbreaking. It's beautiful. And the camera angles are just unlike anything anyone had ever seen up to that point. So it really is groundbreaking. It really is one of the greatest movies ever made. Have you seen it?
I feel like I have. It's just been forever since. I
Yeah.
mean, I can barely pick out, but that's always been the thing. That's always been the talk about it. It's hold up. Its reputation is held up as far as being a very influential movie, a movie that will stick around. For a lot of
Yeah.
people to watch and pull from, and of course probably for a lot of filmmakers too. Like, that's kind of like you'll take a lot of tips from that movie for how storytelling should be like. And yeah, and obviously the character and where you're kind of putting that journey. And yeah, not all stories are supposed to be happy and go
Yeah.
lucky. So nice.
Absolutely. Number 3, Clerks by Kevin Smith. I mean, Kevin Smith is hugely influential to me in the way that he used to write dialogue, that his movies are all kind of relationship based. And it's all right there in that first picture. And to see a movie made for nothing, I mean, it cost some money, but wasn't made for a lot. It's very inspiring. There's I think on the Blu-ray or whatever, there's a documentary about the making of Clerks. It's very inspiring. If you've ever wanted to make a movie or anything like that, it's like, damn, just got to write the damn script. Just got to write the thing. So, yeah, Clerks, it looks like crap. Not a lot of the acting is great, but it's sharply written. It's you can hear it.
Yeah.
That's what they used to always say in film school. Your movie can look like shit, and as long as the audience can hear it, you're fine.
Yeah.
If it looks great but no one can hear what the hell anyone's saying, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there you go. Clerks.
Nice.
Number 2, I just saw this movie. It's on Amazon Prime. I was flipping through. I've been really into like 90s movies lately.
Okay.
And I have one for share time that I'll talk about. But so I'm like in that vein, like looking for 90s flicks, and I see a movie from the 90s starring Steve Buscemi. And I went, oh, I didn't know that he starred in a movie before. Turns out written and directed by Steve Buscemi.
What?
It's called Trees Lounge.
Trees Lounge.
And it's about an alcoholic who hangs out at a dive bar and doesn't glorify that lifestyle whatsoever. It is the most true to life telling of that setting I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Like I thankfully, when I was in my deep drinking phase, I was self-aware enough to know like this could become a problem. You know what I mean? Like I was I was in it, but I was also removed from it. It was like I was watching everyone else.
Yeah.
And watching this movie was like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like I sat next to all those people. I sat next to all these types of characters and soaked it up. You know what I mean? Like I still find bar culture and that kind of thing fascinating. And they are truly characters. You know what I mean? Those people have stories. It's wild. But you also don't want to become one of them. You don't want to spend your life and all of your money at the bar.
Yeah. The bottle.
Because those people become your friends, but they're not really your friends. They're just there. Right. And you turn your back on on your true friends and your family and all that stuff. And this movie captures all that so well while still having a sense of humor.
Wow.
It was very much it gave me the same, not the same, but it gave me similar feelings of That Thing You Do, in the sense that like That Thing You Do is the perfect, like if you were to take Tom Hanks's personality and make a movie, that's what this was with Steve Buscemi. You know
Yeah.
what I
Okay.
mean?
I could see that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good.
Interesting.
Liked a lot of great character actors in it. Um, Fantastic.
Does it take place at a specific town or city or?
So, somewhere like I think in New York, like Long Island or something like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
Nice.
Manhattan. I don't know, but yeah. So Trees Lounge, and then number one,
Trees
That Thing You Do.
Lounge. Ah, yeah, dude. That's interesting. I'm kind of curious now. I've been kind of looking for some like a '90s. I'm in kind of a similar area you're in, man. Like just kind of going to like '90s movies, but maybe.
I'm numb, but I'm numb to everything current.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel that way too. Yeah, yeah. And it's funny because I watched what I watched the other day? I watched freaking Ace Ventura
Weekend.
the other day, dude.
Oh hell yeah! My brother was just talking
That
about this.
movie holds up so well, and
Really,
I mean, you could tell like it's from the '90s, but like it's just so funny still. Like I don't
it's a
know,
great movie. It's a
and
great movie.
and I think it's Jim Carrey commits to that character. Like there's no like moment where you're
Yeah, he
like
does.
this is not working. So. But I think that's the thing too. I think I miss about like kind of those standout movies in the '90s. Yeah, they're very they're very focused on those characters and stuff. Whereas these days it's a lot about there's a lot of stuff being thrown at us. I feel. So I think it gets kind of tough. You kind of lose sight of just like this is that character. Whether or not we could do Ace Ventura today, I think it'd still be funny.
Uh, you can do a version of it. You can't do that exact. You can't take
Yeah,
that
yeah.
script and make it again. It would be
So
called a transphobic probably
yeah,
today.
yeah,
Yeah,
um, yeah. I was thinking about that too. Um, but yeah, man, yeah. That's a good list. Now I'm curious about this Steve Buscemi.
it's really. I never heard of it before.
Yeah, and I would have thought he might have had some sort of either like direct he was a director on something and maybe written something for being in the film industry for so long. I feel like it's eventually gonna happen. I'm sure like some actors, that's kind of like the path sometimes they like to take, right? Eventually like direct something or kind of get
Yeah,
more involved behind the camera. Um, I didn't know that was something that he did, so that's kind of cool. I'm actually really curious to check that out. So, um, yeah, I'm starting to think of like other directorial. I pulled up like a whole list.
I got a big list. Yeah,
There's one on Wikipedia I found, and it was just like, dude, there's just like so many movies from, and that's what's crazy is like every year there's a lot of movies that just like first time directing,
yeah.
so which is great because it just shows that like
Everybody's got a first.
everyone's got their first film, man, and yeah, there's always going to be new directors and new people coming on. um that's there's the whole Hollywood blockbuster thing still these days, but like yeah, even for some of the bigger movies, like I am kind of excited to see like oh yeah, I've never seen this director before or never heard of this director. Oh,
You know what?
are you thinking of one now?
Yeah, I'm switching one out. I'm taking out.
Ooh, we're taking a take back right
I'm
here.
taking out Citizen Kane because it's so rote. I'm gonna put Badlands by Terrence Malick.
Ooh, have I seen that movie?
I don't know, but it's Martin Sheen and
Badlands.
Sissy Spacek, and it's awesome.
Badlands. Ooh, I need to
Badlands
search this up, dude. Here, Badlands movie.
by Terry Malick.
1973.
That would make sense.
Damn, look at that, dude. Terrence
It's
Malick.
fire.
Oh, dude, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's super cool, man. What if that's just how I watch movies just watch all the directorial debuts of like
Ooh,
people.
there'd be a lot of painful ones in there.
I'm sure. Yeah.
A lot of pain.
I'm sure, dude. Cool, man. I like the list. I think I like how
I
we
like
had
your
kind of
list.
a double like debut. It's like
Yeah, it's like a theme.
it's cool to see, especially like the early days of like either a director or a band. Because it is probably one of
Any
the most.
artist.
Yeah, it's one. I feel like that's. I mean, it's not saying you have to make impression, but yeah, you have to. That's kind of like your first impression to everyone, um, and then of course your first project. It's like being able to be a part of something, and it's out there, and kind of the knowing like, okay, what's hopefully what's next, and what's the next project going to be. Um, I think it's yeah, it's super fascinating, and of course, yeah, there's always a first for everyone, man. As far as what they're
Yeah.
doing and what kind of project they're doing. Um, Everyone goes through that, no matter how successful you are, or whatever industry you're in. There's always going to be that debut for you. So,
Yep.
but yeah, man, good
Hell
list
yeah.
tonight, dude. Theme.
Good list to you, sir. Sean,
Themed.
do you have anything you'd like to share with our dear, sweet, lovely imaginary audience this week?
Other than, I mean, I guess going off the list, the list we just did, House Party, I thought was funny. It was on HBO Max. Um, Very, very just nice, kind of classic. These like, I think they're like seniors in the movie. Um, but like classy to the point where it's like, yeah, it's not like the raunchy teenage movies, or like high school movies you can think of. Like I actually tried to watch. I just popped on like The Girl Next Door. You remember that movie?
Yeah, I remember that movie.
Like I got I got like, I don't know, 20 minutes in. I was like, but I was like, like that. I could see this trend of like these are the kind of the movies that people are making at this time, and it's like
Yeah, those raunchy R-rated and
yeah,
came
it's
in the
like,
wake of like American Wedding
and
and
yeah, like we're
Wedding
all trying to get laid kind
Crashers.
of stuff, right?
Yeah, old
So,
school.
but like House Party was like, yeah, we're we
So you just
want to.
trying to kiss a girl?
Yeah, well, no, he's like, I want to go to this party and hang out with this girl, and of course they definitely want to hook up, but like, it wasn't just that. That wasn't like just the main goal of the film. Like, it was like, yo, we got to get like this party together. We need to have some people dancing. Funny enough, Martin Lawrence is in it, and he plays like the buddy who's like the DJ, and
Hell
so
yeah.
so the whole time he's like, well, I need some compensation for this, and the dude who's hosting the party, he's like, you know what, like, there's gonna be a lot of ladies there, like, it's gonna be you're gonna have an opportunity to like, and so it was kind of like my first time seeing like Martin Lawrence in a film like that, that young or whatever, outside of his kind of maybe his stand up or whatever. So yeah, I thought that was pretty funny, seeing those kind of characters in there. Yeah, I think a good one. I
Nice.
might watch the second one maybe tonight. Apparently they've made 4. I think the
Aye.
third one with the original cast, and then I think the fourth one was kind of similar to the American Pie, like they like a spin-off series or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, that's kind of it, man.
Nice.
Gonna probably check out the Loki series. I actually did not watch any of it yet, so
Started the first episode, no desire.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like, me, I'm into time travel shit all the time.
You
man.
are.
And so we'll see where that goes. But yeah, this time around I was like, weirdly enough, I was like, I'm like not that desperate to see the the things, but I think for me it's like I do like having something to look forward to, and that's probably what the MCU
Sure.
still kind of brings, I guess. But
Suppose.
yeah, other than that, that's kind of it, dude. I feel like
Nice.
just getting stoked for our show next month. So
Yeah, man.
Joey, what do you have to share? I know you have like a movie, right? You're gonna.
Yeah. So 2 quick movies. One I watched, I don't remember if I brought this up last week, so I'm just quickly shout out, also on Amazon Prime, Marketing the Messiah. It was
Marketing the Messiah.
very
Okay.
interesting documentary that I watched about the origins of Christianity. How it kind of took elements of paganism and all these different interpretations of different religions and kind of molded it
Okay.
into what we know today. So if you're interested in that kind of history, I liked it a lot. The other one is a movie called Pacific Heights. It is from the early 90s. It takes place in San Francisco. It was shot just like 2 or 3 blocks up from where Alicia lives. We walk by that house all the time. So that was pretty cool. And basically, it's about this young couple who buys a house and starts renting it out. And one of the tenants is Michael Keaton, and he is fucking crazy.
Oh,
And
what? Oh, yeah. Okay.
yeah, and it becomes a thriller. It's awesome. I
All
really
right.
liked it. Yeah, it's called Pacific Heights.
I'm about to look this up.
Another movie I'd never heard of before, and just I had such a great time with it.
Dude, I'm so into this. Oh, he even looks scary in this.
Yeah, yeah. Michael Keaton is scary.
Hell yeah. Dude, you're just bringing the gems this week, man.
I do that sometimes. You're
Just-
very welcome.
I'm like, I'm so into this. I kind of want to check this out now. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're in the mood for like a thriller,
That's
that
the
one. If you're in the mood for more of like a meditative kind of whatever, Trees Lounge.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm into it.
Trees Lounge definitely feels more indie. You know.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm down.
Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Fuck, man. I need to start checking out some other movies, dude. It's so hard to pick movies now, dude. Like,
It's hard. It's a commitment. That's a 2-hour commitment. There's a lot of shit going on in the day.
yeah, honestly, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why maybe that's why I think probably you probably feel the same. Like going back to like the '90s flicks, where maybe not necessarily there were like maybe sometimes they have like 2 movies or 3 movies, if anything, in the series, but like just kind of these one-off movies. I feel just
Yeah, and like adult movies. Movies made for fucking grown-ups is like
yeah,
shit. I can't. Since
yeah, seriously,
even movies that are R-rated are still aimed towards kids. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I miss the adult. A movie for an adult.
yeah, yeah. It's an interesting time, man. Especially we've seen kind of throughout our lifetime, I guess, the change in kind of the movie and yeah, what people are writing about these days.
Yeah, I mean I think we're seeing probably the death of at least what the traditional movie going experience was. I don't think I think even post pandemic, yes, I think theaters will still be a thing, but I think it'll be more niche. I don't think it's going to be as what it was.
Yeah,
I hope I'm wrong.
you know what it was nice to go see Black Widow in theaters. Like I
Sure.
thought, and that wasn't the last movie I saw in theaters. I think it was like I don't know, last month or 2 months ago. Was that Scott Pilgrim? I think I mentioned Scott.
Yeah.
And that was like a re-release. But it was cool, man. It was cool to, especially. I mean, I would say with the Marvel movies, yeah, there's like the fandom and stuff. So like, of course, people are stoked, to see it. And those are things I miss the most. I think is like that engagement and maybe I mean, it's not always going to be like that. This is like the first weekend of it or whatever. So yeah, I think as of right now, it is kind of scary to think like, yeah, this might not be like an experience that we might not have as often, if anything. So,
but you know what? At the same time, like the last, I ever since like The Dark Knight, it's been this cinematic arms race of who can reach $1 billion, and that's where we get with the Marvel films and Martin Scorsese. Oh, it's not cinema and all this stuff. We only have only blockbusters lately, and the pandemic kind of put a pin in that. And I'm kind of, I'm hoping, because it was going to be a bubble that was going to burst at some point.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So, and it'll happen again because theater or, studios are greedy, but it was kind of nice that at least for a second, it was kind of held off. because what's going to happen is they're going to pour all their resources and all their money into these big movies, and one of them is going to tank, like Heaven's Gate, and that'll be it.
Yeah.
It'll be over. And then what? People aren't going to really want smaller movies.
Yeah.
They're going to, it's just going to be TV. Everything's going to be a series. Yeah. Everything's going to be streaming. Everything's going to be content.
Which is, that's, I mean, I must admit, I love watching my, I actually, probably the most I've watched is YouTube this year.
Same. Yeah.
I've been on YouTube a lot.
Me too. More too much.
Any of the streaming services or whatever. I probably mentioned this before. I've become very into like reaction videos, which is the thing that
I still don't understand that.
Well, here, okay, I'll try to explain it.
No, I understand it. I don't understand it.
I don't know. I love it when someone, especially like my girlfriend's gonna start watching some movies that she's probably I love these movies, and maybe it's something to do with maybe it's just seeing like people's initial reaction to something and seeing something for the first time, and maybe it does kind of connect back to the
I get that,
experience.
But I would be suspect that any of those reactions are genuine if they're being filmed. Yeah. I'd be like, oh, okay, you're playing it up.
But it
are you really that mind blown? Like
it depends on the personality.
Too much of a cynic. I'm too much of a cynic to believe that.
Because they're obviously like channels I've seen and like okay like, but some of them they legit put it like I've seen this movie before, but like I haven't seen it in like years, or they're like this is the first time watching, and I go off of just the trust of like seeing their videos and how
you're a very trusting person. I could never do that. Like I did see the reaction of the guy watching the Batman trailer, and Batman and the guy he's screaming and he's tears and like fuck off. No, like I'm sorry. Grow up at that point. You know what I mean? Like I'm the biggest Batman fan. Grow the fuck up. Like there's no way that made you actually do that. But again, I'm an asshole and I'm cynical.
No. I think it's if it's reaction videos, it's whoever you're watching, like the personality, like, and I've had to warm up to that, like, oh, am I kind of into these kind of people? Like, yeah, it just depends. I think it's but that's the thing is, I think going back to the talk of like, going to a movie theater experience and seeing a movie for the first time and like going to your friends and stuff. I mean, it's kind of sad to say, but like I've watched a lot of reaction videos this pandemic because I didn't have a lot of friends to go see movies with.
Sean, that is the saddest fucking sentence you've ever said in your life.
Yeah, and I'm not afraid to admit it because I do miss I do miss that feeling of like going to see a movie for the first time and seeing that initial reaction you get from it. But aside from the reaction stuff, I mean, just consuming all sorts of stuff on YouTube. I mean, there's just tons of stuff you can watch, dude.
Been watching old Howard Stern episodes,
dude. Yeah, like old podcasts and like just like all sorts of stuff, dude. But that's the thing is like I at least now am more aware of like my consumption of like, okay, this is kind of how I'm consuming my videos and stuff. Like what I watch now is like most of the time because maybe I don't have much time to watch a movie. Just maybe on my phone watching YouTube.
Yeah, man, that's a lot of
So, but yeah, you're right. I think there's gonna be there's obviously a shift happening in these last few years, but it's gonna be very interesting to see what's gonna happen with movies, and it does make me sad that hopefully theaters will at least stick around, but it does make me a little sad for sure, because yeah, man. I remember there's a lot of fond memories of me and you going to movies together, dude, and like
oh my god, making out in the back row.
Yeah, so
yeah, all that.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff, dude. So what do they react? Oh, I'm not even reading I'm sorry, I'm not even paying attention to the comment section. What
Don't pay attention
do they
to the comment
react
section.
to? Termina. What do they react to? All sorts of stuff. Trailers. I mean, depending on what kind of stuff you follow. A lot of people I have noticed though, some of these reactors they follow the trends. So like this last month has been like Judd Apatow, like 4-year-old virgin, those kind of things. But a lot of people react to all sorts of stuff. It's just, yeah. Yeah. So, reactors, there's a whole niche of that kind of thing. I think I would say if Joey and I had a reaction channel, it'd be kind of like the stuff we talk about, right? Kind of the, kind of pop culture news and
No,
Star
I'd want to
Wars,
like
all that
watch
shit.
people getting like hit in the nuts and stuff like that.
Okay, I'm down with that too.
Yeah. It's wild. My internet is out. This is working, but like my Chrome isn't working. So like I can't,
What?
yeah,
Oh,
I can't see our
the chat.
comments or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Termina is saying some.
She's going off.
She's going off. She's going off.
That's fair.
But yeah, that's it's a new, we're consuming differently, man, these days.
Yeah.
So
Don't stop consuming
but I am excited.
capitalism.
There's so many options out there, and it is at times it is kind of overwhelming. But there are at the same time it's like, dude, yeah, we have access to like a lot of stuff that we can watch, man. So
we do.
Just
And we're watching less than ever.
Yeah, that too, man.
Jonathan,
yes.
Where can we find more of your work on the internet this week?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Sean Day Music. I have a website, seandaymusic.net. Net. And yeah, check me out. I am on there. Joey, where can we find you, man?
You can check me out on Twitter and on Instagram at Joey Parati. You can check out my website, joeyparati.com. You can also check out the show at Top 5 Pod. That's TOPFIVE 5 POD on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Anchor, on Steam, or not Steam. We're on Twitch. We're on Facebook at Top 5 Podcast. You can email the show at top5podcast@gmail.com. We're on Apple Music, Google Play, SoundCloud, Anchor, Spotify, all the good stuff. So please give us a like, give us a listen, give us a follow, give us your love. And Jonathan, we will give you...
Man. Just everything.
Jesus.
We're giving everything, man. Everything.
Just 1 week. Just
I know,
once.
Dude. I can't think of anything. That is the worst part for me. I can't think of anything every week, dude. You're probably better at catchphrases than I am.
I'm very good at catchphrases, but I'm that's an assist to you, my friend. Anyway, until next time, I'm Joey Parati.
I'm Sean D.
Thanks for listening.
That was a tune.
That was so good.